Richard Del Connor is the philosopher poet of the hippie generation.
All right. Well, welcome to the whatever podcast this is. We're actually doing the Richard Del Connor Philosopher Poet podcast regarding the Oboy, O-B-O-Y album. There's even a song called the Oboy. And also the accompanying book, songbook that goes with it, all the lyrics with the chords and big red letters above the lyrics where you do the change. But with the songbook, you wouldn't be able to play the songs. You'd need to have the album to know what to do, what the melody is. So you need to get the album and the book. But then beyond that, well, hold on, I should show you. Okay, here's a picture of the book on the screen here. And here is, whoops. And here's a picture of the album. Okay, so here's the album. You want to get the album with the songs listed here. Richard Del Connor is the artist and the producer and the owner of the record company and the songwriter. And then lastly, we've got the music movie, which is really, I think, the most awesome. Well, get all three. You need all three. So, in fact, you should get the guitar songbook, even if you don't play guitar, because maybe somebody you know does. And when they come over to your house, you can have a little party and play some Richard Del Connor songs. Okay, so anyway, and here's the music movie one. So you get all three things. You should get the album, the book, and the music movie. Yay! And then I'll make a little bit of money, and maybe I won't be homeless anymore. Remember, I'm technically homeless right now. I've got government subsidies, so I am in a home, but the moment Trump takes away my subsidy, I'm gone. Okay, so here we go. Back on the street. At 71 years old, after a year of chemotherapy and getting both my hips replaced, and I sneeze when I get a chill. I couldn't live outdoors anymore. My nomadic days are over. I just want to live indoors and pump out product for the next 20 years. That, to me, would be great. Teach Kung Fu out of my house. Okay, so here we go. Where are we? Okay, so today's podcast is about the CoyoteRadio.tv. I got CoyoteRadio.net, and I used to have CoyoteRadio.us. I just thought it was a cool marketing thing, me and my marketing. I mean, maybe I got good ideas, but you wouldn't know it. Everything I've done has failed, technically, in terms of being able to make enough money to even support myself. I have failed immensely. But then again, I probably made more money teaching Kung Fu than anyone I've ever known. Well, I don't know, Cam Ewan, he used to charge $1,500 a day, and he used to do seminars and stuff. So he's probably the only person who's made more money than I have, that I know. Well, actually, and then my school brother, who I was living with in Las Vegas when I became homeless, he made, when I was doing lion dances for him, we did like 85 lion dances in the Chinese New Year. Oop, might have bumped the table. Chinese New Year's of 2011 and 2012. That Chinese New Year, we did 85, and he made $180,000 in just that 1 month period, or 2 months, maybe at the most, month and a half. We'll say 2 months. He made $180,000. You'd have to add a lot of years of my income to equal that. Okay, where were we? Okay, so let's just do a quick run through. This is a website I've been trying to build unsuccessfully. It has not been a high priority for me, and I honestly don't know how to do it. Although I honestly think that this would be the most fun website. Now, you've seen Shaolin Records. That's a huge website, but it's all records. Doesn't include a lot of books and things and products. And then I've got ShaolinCom.com, which the last podcast took you on an introductory tour to that. And that one's huge. But this one, to me, is like the most compact little multimedia entertainment website I'm trying to create. I want streaming videos and everything, and music you can stream. I'd like to have like a radio station. I'd like to have this be my real hub to connect to people with live streaming and stuff. So anyway, this is what I want to build here. If you know how to do it and you want to join me, I mean, we'll figure out a way to pay you. If I make money, I'll pay you. But anyway, I want to turn this CoyoteRadio.tv website into my fun little TV station, radio station combo. videos and music. So, but let's just show you what I got. And I was looking at it. It's embarrassing. But I got to move on. I got to get these podcasts done so I can get to my next series and start recording my Kung Fu Cowboy songs. So here we go. An embarrassing, humiliating journey through coyoteradio.tv. Okay, so we're on the home page right now. You can see the URL up here, and I've already loaded these pages because WordPress is just phenomenally slow. My normal websites, my old-fashioned websites, they just load like that. You load a WordPress website, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it loads. Well, I'll show you. If we're here, and I just the next one we're going to go to is the About. So let's just see what happens when we click on the About. About. See this thing up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There, it's loaded. It says here it's still loading some stuff. But see how slow these things load? So that's why I've kind of preloaded these pages here. Okay, but I've already got this About page loaded here. Okay, so here it is. So the first thing, the link you can click up here is the About website. Okay, THC is the Hippy Coyote. When I was in Vegas performing with the reggae people, they told me the Hippy Coyote. They realized my initials were THC. They go, you should sell yourself as THC. That's your name. And so, so a dozen years ago, I started going by, instead of just Hippy Coyote or the Hippy Coyote, I was THC, the Hippy Coyote. Didn't work at all. I don't know if I sold one single record as a result of that marketing ploy. I'm laughing because that's not like I haven't been trying to do marketing. I've just been failing phenomenally. Okay, so anyway, about THC and let's see, who is the Hippy Coyote? Okay, so there's some fun stuff here you can read. I don't know if I need to lead you through all this stuff. Is it worth it? And then we scroll down here and we can see some stuff. Ooh, I'm seeing girls' legs. These are some stock photos I got from this WordPress template, and so I had they said I had permission to use them. So I figured, well, that was a little easy. I got pictures I can put in here, but I don't know. These are modern pictures, modern millennials. Maybe they're more attractive than seeing people from my generation 30, 40 years ago. Anyway, let's see. Well, what do I say here? Well, there's some stuff written here. I don't know. Do I want to... Are people not... Okay, what does it say? Well, let's have some fun here, I guess. I want this thing to be updated. This is not going to be here when you come here in the future, I don't think. Who is the Hippy Coyote? Coyote got his name when he was performing his rock opera, Coyote in a Graveyard, in Hollywood nightclubs, 1984. When Michael J. Fox got on stage with the band and the press wrote about the rock opera, they started calling the lead singer Coyote. So in other words, the rock opera was called Coyote in a Graveyard, and we'd perform, and that's what it'd say in the newspaper, Coyote in a Graveyard, Madame Wong's, Club Lingerie, or somewhere. Okay, so anyway, so Coyote in a Graveyard, I'm the lead singer, so I became the Coyote in a Graveyard, which is kind of true. I was kind of like seeing myself in that role, and there's a whole story of why I saw myself in that role too. Okay, Richard Del Connor was then known as Richard O'Connor. Yeah, a little fun thing to know from... Oh, let's see. Well, let's just read what I said here instead of me talking so much. Let's see how well I explain. Richard Del Connor was then known as Richard O'Connor in the 1980s until 2007, when he joined the Freemasons of California and was forced to use his legal name only. They aren't a secret society anymore. They might say they're a society with secrets, but they are not a secret society. Their membership is totally up. They're a non-profit organization, so everything's, in the public, except for the secrets. When we do rituals and learn certain ceremonies, we're told that these are secrets. And so I know lots of things that they told me are secrets, so I'll keep those secrets. But I don't have to keep our membership or the fact that I was a Freemason secret anymore. Okay? Ironically, at the same time, the Coyote was working on his fourth American Zen album, Level 4 equals Kung Fu Cowboy. So after being called Coyote for 23 years, people started calling him Cowboy or Kung Fu if they knew what he did all week. So I was considered the Kung Fu Cowboy. In fact, when I worked in stagehand, I don't know if I wrote that here, but when I was a stagehand for several years, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, everybody called me Cowboy or Kung Fu Cowboy or Kung Fu. Those were the names. Nobody really knew my real name. Okay, here we go. So there's the pseudonym history. But who is this psychedelic hippie singer, songwriter, poet, flutist, novelist, bow hunter? Yeah, I like hunting with a bow and arrow. Fisherman, hitchhiker, research biologist, union carpenter, movie special effects cinematographer, photographer, who now calls himself an iPhonographer? Well, using his new iPhone 11 Pro Max to shoot and edit his music videos and podcasts. So this was obviously, I created this page right when I moved indoors. So I got this phone that I'm recording on right now, right when I moved in here on a 2-year payment plan, so that I could actually, have a camera. I've since got another camera, which is even better than this one, but anyway, the point being is I was an iPhonographer, and you can see some videos that I made on my 11. So I was hoping, what's a marketing thing? I advertised them as being iPhone videos, iPhonographer. I was using iPhone programs to edit them in my phone, the videos, music videos. And so being an iPhonographer, to me, I thought was going to be something, once again, marketing. Didn't work at all. But I've tried connecting, different hooks through the years, but just failed spectacularly. All right. Where were we? Okay, so who is he? Well, I'm just reading from this page here. In fact, I'll scroll up. You can read along with me. Start at level 1. So American Zen is 8 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where it's a spiritual thing. So you start at the bottom and you go up. Number 1, level 1 is where you're basically surviving. Anybody who goes out and gets a job and pays rent and buys food, you're in level 1. Okay? And you can have kids and maybe even have a house, and then you retire and then you die. That's a whole level 1 life. Now, level 2 is when you add religion to it. So you can live the whole level 1 without any religion at all. But then you go to level 2 and you add religion. That kind of flavors and shapes your life a little bit differently. Who you hang out with, what you do, what you say, even what you think. So the second level of life of the American Zen spiritual journey is Christ killer. Because at the time I was in Utah battling with the Mormons, sticking knives in my doors and telling me to go back to California. And I was that Buddhist hippie. California Buddhist hippie, they call me. But anyway, when I was there, so Christianity and me, I was teaching Zen Buddhism, which I think really pissed them off. Who's this guy teaching Buddhism in Utah? What the hell? And so anyway, I got a lot of opposition from them on that. And a lot of people who were even members of my schools had to keep it secret. And when the newspapers would come around and take pictures of my classes, they would tell the photographers not to photograph them because they didn't want to be associated with a Buddhist school. They'd get in trouble with the Mormon church. But anyway, so level 1 was when I first moved to Utah, actually, and I was just trying to survive. And then Christ killer was like the next couple of years I was battling with the Mormons. So what is a Christ killer? Well, it's not me. That's definitely not me. So a Christ killer is someone who either thinks it's a good idea to kill Christ because you get bonus points in heaven, or you're a Christ killer if you're kind of the kind of Christian, like a lot of the Christians I dealt with, they believe that you have a Christ inside of you, that we're all the embodiment of Christ and we can walk in his footsteps and stuff. And so, but if you're killing that Christ inside of you, then you're a Christ killer. So there's 2 kinds of Christ killers. The one that thinks you get bonus points for killing Christ. In other words, if Christ was born today, everybody'd be loading up their guns and sharpening their knives to go kill him. Let's kill Christ, that we'll get bonus points. But anyway, the Christ killers, they celebrate him. I mean, if you go to their church services, they even have bloodied crosses of him, like up there hanging in front of everybody to show you that, look, he's dead. He's dead. We killed him. Look at all the blood on him, So anyway, they like the Christ. There's the Christ killers. So anyway, the third album is I Want You to Love Me. And that's about everything. All religions. Mormons, everybody. I love everybody. I love Mormons. I love Buddhists. I love Lutherans. I almost said Satanists, but I have no reason not to love them, to be honest with you. As long as they're not harming anybody or actually committing any kind of murders in their ceremonies, then I'd totally be opposed to them. It'd be hard for me to be friends with them, let's put it that way. But if they're not doing anything that I disagree with, they can worship whoever they want. I don't care if he's got horns or not. And then the fourth one, so you like all nationalities too, and races. You're not prejudiced. So that's what the level 3 is. It's really the beginning of Buddhism. You can't be a Buddhist if you're in level 1. Well, in level 1, you're just worried about survival. You're not really worried about a spiritual life or your spiritual legacy or anything like that. And then in level 2, that's when you're actually adding religion. And level 3 is when you get beyond religion. You say, oh, all religions are okay, and all people are okay, and all races and nationalities and everybody's okay. Okay, and then the fourth one is when you get a whole plan. Because like me, I had mixed up Buddhism and Confucianism and Taoism and Kung Fu and Tai Chi Chuan. And I was also an American, I was a Lakota Sioux shaman, pipe carrier for many years. So I mixed all those things together, plus my philosophy, and created this whole thing of love, and let's make everybody happy. And that was the Kung Fu Cowboy thing. It's like, hey, look at me. I'm the Kung Fu Cowboy, and let's do something together. I'll show you how to be happy and healthy and burn off your stress, be a happy peer person, and take care of yourself and build up your self-esteem, because these are hard exercises I'll show you, so you'll be proud of yourself. So anyway, that's the Kung Fu Cowboys, making everybody happy, making everybody healthier and happier. Okay, and then level 5 is actually when because that was kind of backtracking, because when I released level 4, I'd skipped over 5 and 6, because 5 and 6 were my working with the Lakota Sioux and being in the Rosebud Reservation. So I skipped that and didn't release that until a few years ago, those 2 albums. But those were 5 and 6. And so 5 is called Pipe Carrier. And that's when I became a pipe carrier. It totally changed my life for a number of years, being a pipe carrier. And then number 6 is called Vision Quest, because I did go back to the reservation. They invited me back there, and I went on a journey, a spiritual journey. And the chief of the tribe said, you've got to go up here and do part of your spiritual vision quest too. And so he sent me to the place where Crazy Horse and... I can picture him, Red Cloud, did their spiritual, their vision quests. So he said, you need to go there. In fact, he was told to send me there. Yeah, interesting stuff. We'll get to those stories a bit later. Okay, and then, so that's 6, that's 5 and 6. Now, level 7 is actually, I was homeless. Now, level 7 is supposed to be the end of your life, kind of, and you got everything together and everything's done, and you're kind of looking backwards more. You're at that point where now you've basically accomplished everything you want to do, which I had kind of in my case. That was 2014. I was happily, well, yeah, I was. I mean, I don't want to admit it, but I was happily living out of my car, and non-materialistic, very non-materialistic. All my stuff was in storage, and I was in the library if I was doing any kind of technology. Updating a website or something, well, kind of. I had to go to WordPress websites because I couldn't work on my normal Dreamweaver websites while I was in the library. Anyway, that's number 7. And then that same year, number 8 was, I always envisioned that as being the bridge to the next, to dying. In other words, it's kind of like you got your foot in the door, or you've touched into spirituality or whatever, which in my case was in 2014 on Memorial Day, I went to bed with this really neat poem about a father and a son, in which the father's talking to the son, and then you don't realize till the end of the poem he's talking to the ghost of his son, because he's just finding out his son was killed in the Middle East in combat. And so kind of sad, don't want to get choked up here, but it's a really sad poem, and I went to bed with that, and then I woke up with 3 other voices in my head saying, tell this story, tell this story. So that became the last album of American Zen, because I realized I definitely had crossed over at this point. Talking to the dead are talking to me. So I got all these visions and things, and I created these songs, several at least of these songs. Friendly Fire is the one that I could never perform these songs, and I'll start crying, because these visions came with they didn't really come with the emotions, but experiencing what he was experiencing would cause me to have the exact same emotions, I think. So I don't think they transferred emotions, they just transferred visions. So I saw these visions, and I wrote these songs. And so that was level 8. I figured, okay, American Zen's done. We've gone to creating life, which was my daughter. She's in the first one. I talk about her being 1 year old and, doing things that 1-year-olds do, to talking to dead people. So bringing life and talking to dead people, I think, okay, that's the American Zen journey. So yeah, the level 1, it's called Memorial Day album, because the whole album was written on Memorial Day. all these songs were written because I had to get these guys out of my brain. They said, will you do this? And it's like, well, okay, all right. Why would I say no? And so I did. I wrote those songs based on their visions. They told me those stories, and then I wrote those songs. Never talked to them again. Haven't seen those guys or heard from them again, or any other ghosts either. So it was a once-in-a-lifetime event. And so that was the Memorial Day album and the end of the American Zen journey. Okay, let's get back to reading on the page here. See, me, the storyteller, I love to tell stories. Truthfully as possible. Okay, the 8-level spiritual journey of American Zen is done. Now you understand what I mean by that. It turned out much more amazing than I ever could have imagined. Yeah, I never imagined I'd be talking to dead people in the last album. That was not the plan. Get the audiobook, Utah Phase 1. Audiobook? Utah Phase... Oh, that does exist. I just haven't, I've recorded it, but I haven't edited it and released it. I'm going, huh? Yeah, it's done. It's actually made it. It has the first complete overview of the 8-level spiritual odyssey of American Zen and the Hippy Coyote. I didn't know that. If it does, I must have had a reason for saying that. But the Utah Phase 1 book is actually just the first year, 2 years at the most that I was in Utah. It's the Level 1 and the Level 2 album, Battling the Mormons, maybe 1992, 93, maybe 94. And, no, I think it was done before 94. Anyway, it couldn't have the overview of the 8-level journey unless I added it in there because I didn't know what it was going to be. It wasn't until 2014 and it was done that I knew what the journey was. So that's why I'm kind of saying I must have talked about it. Let's put it that way or said something. Okay, here we go. A few words about Coyote. Although Coyote is known as Richard Coyote. Oh, and I just found a cassette because remember I was Richard well, you don't know that, but I was Richard Coyote. So when I was trying to figure out my pseudonyms and I was performing in Utah, I actually was performing for a while as Richard Coyote. Instead of the Coyote, I was Richard Coyote because the Native Americans in particular wanted to call me Coyote. But they didn't. They considered that to be more like my last name. It's like, I'm Mr. Coyote. Well, I'm Mr. Richard Coyote. So Richard Coyote kind of like worked for a few years with a lot of the Native American people, finding that to be more like an Indian name, I guess. And so I was Richard Coyote, and I didn't know I'd released an album. And so I actually found the cassette, just took the cassette, dumped it over into digital, and released it. Hopefully I did a little sound reduction on it, but noise reduction because it's a cassette tape. But anyway, the point being is that I actually did release a Richard Coyote album, and it's out there right now. I just flipped it out, shoved it out there. In fact, I did the cassette as 2 songs. In other words, there's actually like a dozen songs. But what I did was I did a side A and a side B and said, I don't want you bouncing around because it's a little bit of a story. That's kind of what I do. The order of the songs is significant on some of my albums, not all of them, but some of them. Like Level 3, it's not significant. Those songs happened in a certain period, but they're not in any kind of order. It doesn't matter on that one. But the Level 2 album, I think it matters, and the Level 1 album matters. Level 4, kind of. I'm telling some stories in that one. We'll get to that another time. Okay, but anyway, although Coyote is known as Richard Coyote, a pipe carrier of the Lakota Sioux traditions, he is not a trickster, at least not on purpose. I got some stories on that. Here's the backwards version of my logo. I kind of like that. Anyway, so let's see. What's this? These are some things that I guess if we click on them, I'm supposed to go places or products or something that I've got here. So I'm like I said, I got to come back and work on this website. I don't even know what I'm doing. All right, now the next thing here is a blog. And this is where I keep telling people because I know this website's not done, and I'm not sure even how to make it the way I see it in my brain, to be honest with you. The blog is where I tell people. So this way I could just like slap in my new releases. I release a song, a single, boom, I put it here. Release an album, put it here. So I kind of like to make this a little bit of a scroll of my releases. That's kind of been the goal. So if we do scroll down here, here's where are we at here? We're back in 2022. We've got how many releases? two podcasts in 2023. Are they all here? I thought I'd release some more. I'm wondering if my blog... I've had some problems with putting this thing together. See how it spells blog? We look up here in the URL, B-L-O-G. Well, let's not... There may be 2 blog pages. So there may be another blog page with stuff on it. Because to be honest with you, I thought I posted some more recent stuff. So this thing's a little messed up. But it's got a lot of stuff here. Anyway, it was working well. Let's put it that way. I hope it still is. Oh, here's a funny thing I made when I was homeless with another homeless friend of mine, an actor. This guy's really cool, a good actor too. I really like Dan a lot. We made a comedy commercial, a 1-minute commercial that's a comedy. He actually wrote it. It was his idea. He needs some credit for that. He never came up. I asked him for sequels and stuff like that, and he never had them. But this particular one was just awesome. And I just said, I got to make. As soon as he told me the story, I said, I'll produce it. You know, you're the writer. I'm the producer. If I add anything to it, I'll be an additional writer. So I'm kind of like, I might have added something, but I did the artwork here and stuff. And he just starred in it, and he had most of the. He gets a lot of credit. He did a good job on that. Here's where I live. This is actually my backyard, you know, about a mile over there. And next page, I don't know what happens here. There's 3 pages here. Look how slow it loads. That's what I don't like about WordPress websites. They're just so slow. Oh, there's a picture of me and my daughter. This is the beginning of when I was in Utah. This is like the first year I was in Utah. Well, she's like 1 year old, as you can see. I was doing a photo shoot of me, and, you know, she's always following me around, so she got in this thing. And then here's me performing. That's the year before I left for Utah. So this is my last year of intelligence before I gave up my life to become a diaper changer. So this is when I was still smart enough to realize that having a family wasn't a good idea. And then I decided to have a family, and wrong idea for me, especially if I think of that as marketing or career, you know, because it destroyed everything I had, so it couldn't be. Anyway, the first album, here's the CD back cover of it. Not sure what I'm talking about here. Here's the first album. I put this here. This is a funny thing. It's on some things and it's not on some things. I was getting lots of death threats, you know, like from the Mormons and sticking. So to me, that was like, just a joke. All right, once again. Oh, now this may have been it. This may be a picture from even the concert where I record this. This is a live song on, where is that album over here? If we come over here and go to the album, there we go. Oh, Michelle is the 5th song, 4th song, 2, 4, 5. It's 5th song down here. This one, anyway, was recorded, and this may be a picture from when that was recorded. And then here's me getting married. Why did I put that there? Oh, that's because of this song. This song was, this is such an awesome song. These are just, you click on these things and then there's more words. These are just the headlines and a photo. But this is such an excellent song, and it's on this album. Where is it? There. No, it wasn't. There it is, down here. Almost third to the last song. No, it wasn't a dream. And the song that I put on this record is actually this original song that was recorded about a year after this picture was taken, because we got divorced. No, 2 years, because we got divorced a year after this, year and a couple of months, and then we had to wait a year for the final papers, and then we got the final divorce, and then we made love and had sex, and I wrote this song before she probably got to her car. And no, I walked her to her car, so by the time I got back, she was probably gone. But I might have written that song before she got home. And then what I did was I just decided I couldn't sing it any better than that, because I totally meant it. You know, every word of that song, I meant it at that time. So I would just be imitating myself rather than feeling it. So I left the original vocal, and then I just added a bunch of stuff to it. Let's see, and then here's me in my current house. Yay, indoors. Oh, here, I was talking about those necklaces. This must be one of the last ones I had. That they eventually deteriorate and break down because there's a leather inside there. Which is, well, we can read. I can say more about that. I got other things I decided to use, but then I worry about them choking. If somebody grabbed it and held it, it won't break. You know, so I use some twine and stuff that would have a harder to break. Okay, Shaolin Zen is a new website. When did I build this? 2020, so 5 years, and I haven't finished this website. That's embarrassing. Here's me doing the podcast. I did 69 of these on this book, Tao of Taoism. I read the whole book, and I did it in 69 podcasts. Really awesome, but I think it was still too few. I was giving you too much information. It really should have been about 300 podcasts to really go through this and for people to be able to really grasp it and improve their lives with it. I think it was just too much information throwing at them, which is what most people do. They just scan. They're not really learning. And oh, here's me back in 96, maybe about 96, when I created Tai Chi Youth in Utah. And then here's me back. This I think was before I met my ex-wife, so I'd say this is probably the mid-'80s. This is the mid-'80s. My Rickenbacker, which I still have. And then here's where I was hospitalized for a half a year. And in 2008, when did I put? This is 2020 that I posted this picture. Buddha's birthday. Buddha's birthday is it's April 8th. Yeah, I was going to say it's not March 23rd. It's April 8th. That's what we consider to be Buddha's birthday. Nobody in America knows that. Nobody cares. And anyway, people would write to. Anyway, I don't want to be cynical, although the thoughts are going through my brain. Okay, so anyway, almost done building this website. Nah, 5 years later, I'm still ain't done. No. Was that is there one more page, or is that it? Is this page 3? Okay, so anyway, there we go. So I've had 5 years to build this website, and I don't know how, and I'm having trouble. In fact, I'm having trouble just putting need new software and a new computer, I think. But anyway, there we go. There's the blog. There's more time spent on that than I was planning. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one over here that we're looking up here is audio podcasts. Now, I thought I'd tried to put them here, and I think I got some error messages or some problems. But this is where I can kind of like put down podcasts that you can join. And I actually thought there was something here. I thought there was. Okay, anyway, and then video podcasts. You click on this one over here. Now, a lot of video podcasts might actually go out as audio podcasts. But if I only make it as an audio podcast, then I'd put it in the audio. Otherwise, all my podcasts are going to be videos right now. And look at it, they're not here. Man, I thought I put some. I've had some stuff crash and I've lost some stuff, so I think that maybe this. I know there was something there. Okay, anyway, let's just keep going. The next thing to click on here. Oh, is that video again? Video and video. Okay, and then somewhere over here, cool commercials. And remember, I got one here, and I've designed all kinds of other ones that I want to shoot, and I've even shot a couple, but I haven't edited them. But I like making fun commercials. If we're going to advertise in life, I like fun commercials, and I've got a certain ideas and concepts, but once again, one-man operation, trying to become a TV station. Anyway, but here's the one thing I got here. I got something done here. I'm clicking on it, but nothing's happening, though. That's not good. You should click on it, and it should play. Do I click on it here? Anyway, these are all things. I need somebody to help me with this. If I've had 5 years to do this, and this is as far as I've gotten, I need help. Help! Somebody help me. Be a partner with me. I'll split 50-50 with you. You know, somebody, come on. There's got to be somebody out there capable or willing to help me. Am I really that weird that nobody'd ever would have helped me? I think I'm doing good stuff. I think I'm even improving the world and improving the future. Isn't there anybody out there who wants to invest in me because I think I'll make the planet a better planet? Anyway, if we look here, it looks like I did something here, music videos. I stocked up some music videos here. These are made. Look like they're not linked up, though. Oh, I know what happened. I changed my hosting. Oop, I clicked on one. Did that take me to somewhere? Oh, I'm going to YouTube. So there. Hey, look at that.
Lulu, are you ready to do this?
So you can click on something. I'll click them. I'll make them so you can at least watch them. Here's me. That's me performing live. This is back in 2014. In fact, this was the first day that I was kind of like homeless from my kids. This was like the last day I spent with my kids ever. They all moved out, and I was like in my car sleeping in their parking lot or out in front of their house. So I was like trying as hard as I could to stay as connected to my kids and as I could, even when I was homeless for a couple years. But then they eventually moved farther away, and I saw them less frequently until I didn't see them at all, and they moved to Idaho and may never see them again. And I'm not just saying that casually. I mean, I may never see my kids again. It's just the way it is. I have to accept that. So anyway, let's how we pause that. But yeah, here's me performing. A good performance, too. It's really cool. Oh, and in terms of my guitars, or talking about what I'm doing career-wise, this guitar is one I played from 1984 until, well, this is 2014. Until 2014, we'll say. So for the entire American Zen, and plus years before American Zen, this was my guitar, that Stratocaster. And this is the best guitar. The Stratocaster guitar is the best guitar ever made by any brand or even Fender. Sorry, I've played 100 different guitars, maybe. lots and lots and lots of. I go to Guitar Store and play all kinds of stuff. And no guitar has ever felt better, more comfortable. I can just like do it's just like I can connect to that guitar better than any guitar I've ever had or played with. Just an amazing guitar. And I got a better, well, better guitar? I don't know. No, maybe not. But anyway, I got another guitar. I got the PRS because I was looking for something with humbuckers. And boy, what a dog of a guitar. It really came out of the box a piece of crap, and but it sounds great and it looks great. So it sounds great and it looks great, and that's my PRS guitar. I don't even call them my PRS. Got to give it another name because I don't want to bad talk them like they deserve. But at the same time, I got to give it. I call it my black gold guitar because that's kind of the model number. So anyway, my black gold guitar. So I've got that, but that wasn't. I didn't bond with it. I didn't have a relationship with it, and I got that just a few years ago. And so that's why all of a sudden I got these resonator guitars, which I was talking about in my last video, my Dobros. And I'm so excited, to play my Dobros. And that's going to be the guitar for probably the rest of my life. I mean, I've only got like 20, 30 years left. So for the next 20, 30 years, I'm just going to play my Dobros. Because I can play them electric, and I've got the PRS, if I ever want to sound like Jimmy Page. And I do have that Stratocaster. With the frets are like worn out. They're like, the frets are supposed to be like flat like this, but they got big notches in them from the strings, eating them up. So the notches are just totally devoured. I took him and he says, you got to have her totally refretted. And so I thought to myself, do I try to make it into a new guitar, or do I just leave it like this because it really represents everything that I did to it? It represents my years that I played it, all those rivets. And I've had it, the frets leveled several times. So this is as low as they could go, without replacing them, and then they got divots. So you can't even fix the frets. You got to replace them. So I figured that I was going to retire the guitar. And I love that guitar. And if I wanted to play it, I could pull it out and it plays fine. Even with all those big dippity doodads and the frets that I've worn out, those grooves in it from the strings wearing out the frets. It still plays okay, so I can record with it anytime I want. So I figured that's what I'll do. It's just my super special guitar. Where were we? Let's go to the next thing here. The music videos. Oh, now I got lots and lots of music videos. And that's what I was trying to say a minute ago. I got 28 music videos from that music movie right there. And I got a whole bunch more I've been making and shooting and doing stuff. And then I made 17 music videos for this record. So I got lots of music videos. And look at this page. It's not really promoting any of them. So I've just got to link them all up. But where do I put those music videos so you can see them? I can't put them where my website is because they'll take up all kinds of space and they'll cost me a ton of money. And plus they'll get pissed if they ever get popular. Because when you have website pages, they don't mind if a lot of people are visiting your web pages. But bigger content, if you got a whole bunch of people, it just really bogs up their server. So you have to take certain big things like videos and records and music, and you're supposed to put them on separate website or servers, companies like Vimeo, where they specialize in that. So they charge you for streaming and stuff like that. So you're paying for not only some storage, which might be really minimal, but then you get charged by how much people use it. So you're not. If it's really popular, you'll pay a whole bunch more. And if it's not popular, you'll pay the minimum, And so I was trying to figure that out. And I was trying several companies. And I've since set myself up at a company called bunny.net. And I bought like $150. I paid the special little device that hooks up to their server. Well, actually, I can use it for other servers too. But hooks up and makes it easier for me to load up videos into bunny.net and then post them here. And I haven't been using it. I'm doing lots of stuff, but not everything. But anyway, this is where I could put 100. I got 100 music videos. No, not that many. 28, 38, 40. At least 50, we'll say. Okay, so I got lots of music videos I could put here right now. Okay, and then continuing along here on this site, a store. Got to buy something. All this stuff's been free. All this streaming and stuff. I want to even sell the albums, the music movies and stuff like that. I'd even like you to buy the video. But anyway, there's got to be a way I can do it. And this is the store. I'm using a template. It came with these pants. I left these here. If anybody wants to pay $150 for these pants, I'll send you mine. You can buy my pants. But anyway, I got to replace that with something. But anyway, so you got to replace these. These had other fillers in them. But this is kind of nice. This is a website. Like I say, I don't know how to make those things flash like that and go boom like that. So this is a website that kind of came with a lot of stuff built in, and then I just got to put my products in here. So yeah, this, in fact, does it even work? Let's see. Well, this book should release. If we click on the book, I'm curious to see what's going to happen right now. Like I said, I know nothing. This site is like, I'm almost avoiding it. Hey, look at that. You go here. Okay. Let's see what I've done. I mean, I do stuff, and then I don't remember what I've done. It's not like I do so many things I can't remember. So let's just see what happens. If I click add to cart, Let's see if you can buy it from right here. What happened? Hey, look at this. It went somewhere. Ooh, it goes over here. Now you can buy it. Now you can buy with Apple Pay or Google Pay. What about payloads? Well, I'm using the Pro. This was a template, so it came with these things. So I don't really want to buy it right this second, but if I go to, let's see what happens. If I go to Apple Pay, does it really work? I'm curious. We're in the unknown together here. Usually I buy my products and sample them. Usually every time I upload an album or something like that, I'll buy one. I figure, it's $10 in advertising, and I just want to make sure it works. So I'll actually buy one of my products all the time. So we go here and it's saying, hey, do you want to do this? You can buy it with Coinbase. I got a Coinbase Visa. I didn't know that. Oh, and it just had to use my phone to confirm the payment here if I use this thing down here. Okay, so I've never used Apple Pay. So that was kind of, to me, that was a real adventure. I've never tried to buy anything with Apple Pay. What happens if I go over here to Google Pay? I should already know this. Choose an account. Okay, well, I guess if you've done Google Pay, you'll know what this means. But these are some of my Google accounts, Richard Del Conner and Kung Fu Cowboy. Kung Fu Cowboy 1. Now, I actually own Kung Fu Cowboy but I can't get to that account. They locked me out of it. I've got a lot of accounts that Google's closing down because of inactivity. Not so much, it's not even so bad that the people aren't visiting it, but the fact that I don't visit it, and then they lock me out of my accounts. So I can't get into Kung Fu Cowboy. I got in there, and then I couldn't get in there. Just a year ago, I was able to get into Kung Fu Cowboy, and now I can't. So this way is my main Kung Fu Cowboy account, Kung Fu Cowboy 1 at Gmail. But I do own the other one, so there are some videos there you can see. I just don't know if I'll ever be able to add any, and I don't know when Google's going to delete that account. All right, where were we? Okay, so, yeah, both those things work. But you can actually complete your payment with... Okay, so there's two ways you can do it. Now, there is a third way. What I got to do is I'm going to have to go get the code from my other server where I do create the buttons like you saw at ShaolinCom.com and ShaolinRecords.com. I create buttons. They're PayPal buttons, but they'll process any credit card. So I need to put a PayPal button, I think, on here too, and then you could buy it with that. Presuming, yeah. Okay, interesting. That was fun. An adventure for me. But yeah, this book is published and it's out there. You can buy it right now. If you were to buy that, you'd have a PDF of it. And then you could go to Amazon and you could get the paperback or the hardcover if you want to pay more money for it. Which is cool. I like having paperbacks. I like to hold the book. So I do recommend at least getting the paperback of any book that you like of mine so you can share it with people too. Show people when they come over. All right, where were we? Let's go to the next page here. This is your cart. Okay, so if you do buy something on here, then supposedly it'll show up in this cart. I was just clicking all the links here so we see what's here. And then you'll go to the checkout. And then you'll have an account. Look at this. I need to customize this. It's my account. But everybody should, I don't know. We'll see what happens. These are things that like I said, I need more I need to. And then the last one is contact us. I didn't even put in my phone number here. I like this picture of me, though. This is me back in the 70s? This is me about 80, 82, I might even say. Early 80s, 81 or 82. I'm looking at my haircut because I know who gave me that haircut. And Nancy Volrath did a photo shoot of me after that haircut. But anyway, I recognize it. Okay, so there we go. That's the CoyoteRadio.tv website, which is got bare bones. I mean, that thing's already functional. So the blog may be the only thing that's really happening. If you go to the blog, I'll start putting in all my releases. It's on my calendar to do it, and I haven't been keeping up on a lot of stuff. Sorry, if I hired somebody, I'd say, hey, why didn't you do it? But me, I got too many excuses. All right, so, hey, this is Richard Del Conner, philosopher, poet, checking out here. Also, Kung Fu Cowboy. I want to be Kung Fu Cowboy again. Get me out of this podcast stuff and webmaster stuff. I like playing music and singing and doing poetry and doing Kung Fu. A lot of this other stuff, I mean, maybe I could enjoy it, especially if I was getting paid for it, but it's all just a distraction for me in terms of my normal life, shall we say. All right. We out of here? Am I out of here? Yeah, I guess that's it. All right, Richard Del Conner, I'm out of here, and this was CoyoteRadio.tv. Check on it. There is a little bit of stuff here, and there's going to be more. The blog, I'll start to fill that in, and if I can find somebody to help me, I really want to do a lot of the other stuff, and I would say 90% of this work I could probably do and figure out. got to spend the time. All right, see ya.